readers. Today we're going to do a double review of Earthbound and Earthquake by Aprilynne Pike. These books were sent to me by Penguin for free, for review, for my public, honest opinion things. Earthbound is about a girl named Tavia who survives a plane crash and her parents die, and she goes and lives with her aunt and uncle, and some strange things are happening. It's weird. She sees these glowing triangles, and then this guy named Quinn starts popping up, and she's like, hello, psychologist, is there something wrong with me? Which is kind of cool that she clued her psychologist in, because there was a part where she's like, maybe I will, maybe I won't, but, you know, people can only help me if I ask them to, basically. She doesn't quite say that, but that's just kind of said in her actions, and I thought that was really cool because a lot of times, like in Pretty Little Liars and stuff like that, they just throw themselves in front of trouble and you're like, what? But this girl is really smart. I thought this book was super smart and whatnot, but also the fact that along with the glowing triangles and stuff like that, she finds out about these things called Earthbound, which is a nice, neat part of the mythology part of it because it's kind of sci-fi mythology, all of the things, but basically Earthbound are these god-type people who were Earthmakers before in their first kind of original form. They created the Earth, and then what happens is they are reborn every so often, every time they're killed. I've never heard of anyone like just dying from old age, I don't think. Like there might have been a couple that were mentioned about that, but for the most part, they get killed and they are only allowed to be reborn about 7 times. And if they don't have their Delingo, their OTP kind of person with them, then their lifespan is limited to that. But if they're with their Delingo person, Deligo, whatever they're called, they actually get to live for a lot longer. Eternity. It's really hard to talk about this book a little bit because of the fact that you learn things as you go along, as you read the story. It's not a big info dump kind of thing. It's just like as you go along you're like, oh, okay, there's another thing, there's another thing, there's another thing. So it didn't feel like a big overload when she meets up with Quinn and he tells her some things. I also really like Benson, who is her, in the second book he's noted as the library friend because he works at the library and he is her friend. But basically, he is adorable and nerdy and awesome and just helps her out in so many ways. So many ways. Speaking of Quinn and Benson, I was kind of worried in this novel because there is a kind of a love triangle, kind of a little bit of a love triangle, but at the same time, there's not that much romance. No, not that much romance. So, yeah, but I was a little worried about Tavia because she just like unexplainedly would just be like, I love Quinn and I don't know why. You know, it's just really worrisome when a character is just like, I don't know. And you're like, but you should maybe, but it's explained. It's explained sooner or later, it's explained. And now to talk about Earthquake by Aprilynne Pike, which is the second book in the Earthbound series, and basically we're following Tavia as more things happen, and it is insane and intense and whatnot, and basically she finds Logan, who, How do I talk about Logan without spoiling the first book? Let's just say he's a special guy. He's cool. But Tavia is basically tasked in this book to make a vaccine for the virus, which is basically the thing that has been going around, that has been kind of, how do you explain it? It's been killing off the Earthbound, which is bad because, as I said before, they were the Earthmakers, which made the Earth, which means a lot of things are disappearing, like islands and mountains and things like that. And so, just a little bit of a time crunch, and we actually get to meet Daniel, who is a little bit mentioned in the first book, and he's like a mix of Caesar Flickerman and President Snow, I believe. I visioned him as the guy who plays Caesar Flickerman. Like, that's just how, because he was in Transformers and he was kind of like that character a little bit. Not as sassy, lacked a juice box, but you know, you try. It's a little scary, but yeah, this book is intense. There's quite a bit of running and exploding things and all of that fun science-y stuff that you really want in some young adult fiction. I really like Thomas and Elena. You do have to give them a minute. Like, in a lot of ways, but it just pays off because they are so great, and how everything is tied together in this book is wonderful. Like, just you don't have to worry about consistency or anything like that. It's just really good and really just great, and she questions quite a bit of things as far as, I mean, Tavia does, as far as, you know, who you love, who you choose to love, all that kind of stuff. How do you save the world without killing a bunch of people? That's a big question, and fun stuff like that. And so, overall, I thought these two books were a fun time, but also really just sucks you into the story, and really good and sciencey and stuff. I don't know how accurate the science is, but you know, well, I'm along for the ride. I'm here. I'm into it. The first book, wasn't so sure if I was into it. Then I got into this one, and I think this is when I was like, okay, because the first one just sets up the world, but this one, you're like, all right, we're into this. We're into this for real. So that is all. I hope you guys go pick up these books because they're fantastic and they're very sciencey, and I want more YA sci-fi. That's my only. It's not my only reason, because Tavia and Benson. Okay, just those two. They're great. And Thomas and Elena. But yes, go check out these books by Aprilynne Pike, and have a great day and keep reading!